Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WGLEU. Obviously, match week 11 being our last week of the normal season. It feels like only yesterday that we were just getting started here, Ollie, but off the back of a big Super Week and last week's play, we are now down to our final week. And of course, we're up to the last game of the night. It's going to be a cracker. It's going to be Wombats on Tanks going up against Oops, Ollie. This is some high-level stuff from these teams that have shown us over the season. A win here for either of these guys propels them into first place.
Yeah, it also gives them a guaranteed top 2 spot, which is probably the most important thing here because, Absolutely. Of course, I guess, if Wombats on Tanks win today and win on Thursday, they guarantee get themselves into first place. But, a top 2 spot is what you want. It doesn't really matter if you come in first and second. That just depends, if you go into semi-final 1 or semi-final 2 in the finals. So that would be fantastic for both Oops and Wombats, of course, getting away from the pre-playoffs where all sorts of things can come and happen. It's just a double elimination bracket.
You don't want to Kazner it,
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to have anything happening like that. A team can just prepare a lot of strange tactics and then manage to win against you, and you're out of the proceedings. So this is a super important match for sure.
No doubt about it. I do want to correct myself as well. A win here for Wombats and Tanks puts them into equal first, but because of the countback between them and Tornado Rocks and their loss to them last week, that puts them in second. But as you said, still solidifies their position towards the top of the ladder, which is what's important here, because the top 2 spots guarantee automatic qualification to the finals. I'm just reiterating what we said before already, but you guys now hopefully should be in your heads. And of course, the finals are going to be here, as we've already mentioned earlier on, which is going to be great. We had a great time last time around as well. Good crowd, and we also had some good food. So if you are around the area,
sign up. There's a forum thread. If you just go World Tanks EU, click on tournaments, or just scroll down, you can see the main article for finals. Click on register, and you'll just see a page. Just write your name, your in-game name. And
did you write the article for the finals?
Not for what I think so.
I was hoping you'd have a cheesy title again.
No, it's ESLgaming.com will have one. Yeah.
All right, so we've got obviously from our product team there as well who've punched one out. So have a read as well. That's a good way to get a good feel for what's happening in the finals. Also, watching us is a great way because you see them play. But Melly, of course, these 2 teams, big names here as well, big followings, a lot of expectations on both of these guys here. Votes are open though.
Absolutely, and it's kind of the first time that Wombats on Tanks has such low voting result. It's 56% in their favor. So people head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and get your votes in for this, last match of the night at least. But how many to go?
We still have 10 after this.
Yeah, 10?
No, 9 after this.
Technically 8 because there's only 2 matches on Sunday.
But still.
Dank.
Still enough matches left for everyone that just tuned in. Don't be sad, the VODs will be up tomorrow over at youtube.com/WGLEU. That channel you should definitely follow. So subscribe. Also follow our Twitch channel, our Twitter page, our Facebook fan page. And then you're all set and sorted, even if you can't make it to Cologne, which would be really sad if you ask me. You will still have all information and everything you need to follow, this super awesome, not super match week, but regular match week 11, and of course pre-playoffs on the weekend.
And I'll give $20 to the 114th person that follows our channel. So let's go. Let's get around it, guys. Let's now think a bit more about this game in detail. Of course, everyone knows how to get involved, and we hope that you guys do that one here. We'll kick off with some interview videos, and then we'll break it down. So let's hear what the teams had to say about this match coming up, a very important one for both of them.
Unfortunately, we haven't played against Oops yet, so it will be our first encounter.
Wombats is a really strong team. They are obviously one of the best teams in the league, and we're going to prepare well to win this.
I mean, come on, Bishop said the same thing twice. To be fair, we do that quite a lot, but, that was the most vague set of interviews ever. Next time, I'm definitely going to push them to actually say something of merit.
But I mean, some spicy banter going on.
The problem is, it's recorded like early December. It's now February. So
it's also recorded in front of everyone else. So you can't be like, Bishop sucks! And then he's sitting right there in the room.
Just kick him all out. No, the thing is, it's a long time ago, so
Okay.
How can you really put anything of worth on camera when you're talking about 3 or 4
We
months?
haven't played Oops. We look forward to the game.
True.
Anyway, that's fair enough. I mean, we knew that we probably wouldn't be able to rely on those interviews to get some good insight for you guys, but at least you got to see their faces and know that they do exist outside of the computer gaming world. But I mean, this game, I mean, we break it down, of course. Maps as well have already come to us, Ollie, so we can even talk about that one. We're going to kick it off with Himmelsdorf as well. What's your feeling about this one? I want to know really your initial thoughts, not having seen these guys played, because Wombats and Tanks, despite a bit of a hiccup against Tornado last week, they've been very, very strong since returning from China.
Yeah, basically they only lost before that was against Synergy.
Yep.
So they've been super strong this season. Obviously, Oops, I mean, they were doing so well as sitting up in the first for a long time. And then an absolute disaster of a game against KB last week, 5-1 against them. And, you know, that was the game where if they had won it, like, that's a guaranteed top 2 spot. They wouldn't have had any problems at all. And, you know, now they're fighting against a lot harder team than KB. Obviously, we just saw KB have been getting a lot better in the last few match days. So, yeah, it makes it awkward. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Wombats probably the better team on Himmelsdorf.
Yep.
Oops, we've seen some good stuff from them. A lot of close matches, but anything can happen. I mean, at the end of the day, Oops knows that if they win this match, then, you know, they'll definitely be playing the pre-playoffs. They got to go through all that nightmare, and all the hard work they would have done up to that point wouldn't be wasted, but it would, you know, wouldn't have been 100% worth it.
That's right. There's a lot more that can be gained from some win here as well. I mean, Oops, I favour them much more when we get to see HD come out of the woodwork and get on some artillery and use that as well. We've seen them just go absolutely nuts. But we know that Oops can play fairly well on the city maps. Himmelsdorf, of course, is going to be the first one here. So the guys are pretty much getting ready to play here as we're going to jump in a second. The Leopard! I like it. Even an IS-3 getting picked up here as well, an IS-4 for the Wombats on Tanks. And, I mean, nothing crazy from Oops, really. I feel like that's quite a standard lineup here. Maybe an IS-7 instead of the 113 is what we normally see.
Yeah, that's the only real difference here. But I mean, IS-3, Leopard, as you mentioned, always a standard pickup for Wombats.
So sick.
And, you know, I think with Wombats, they just play the game. They play Himmelsdorf well. They didn't really try anything super unusual. And the interesting thing about Wombats, as you mentioned, is they only played, this will be their 10th match of the season, so they've got another chance to be in the top 2 spot on Thursday. It depends, of course, what happens on that day as well, and if Oops win this one, if it goes tiebreak, you know. But, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, Wombats just absolute beast, playing back-to-back and not faltering, really. And apart from against Tornado, which they just managed to mess up that attacking round throws for ages. I mean, I don't know what the hell they were doing there, but it was an interesting match. Genghis going hard down. Looks like Oops going for that right side push. Batchat going aggressive down the 1-3 line. And pretty standard start. I mean, the most standard start. It's exactly what Wombats has every single time on the defense side on this map.
I just saw one of the inclusions for Oops here. Just Cause took a hit, but White Flag Baguette is going to be rocking up here for the FP215.
I think we probably said it's insane, by the way.
Why? Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, well,
he's French, by the way, just in case.
Oh, is he? Oh, it's probably okay then.
Because I think we call him White Flag Baguette once.
Damnness has changed his name to Dumbness as well. This is brilliant. Well, it wasn't exactly the most clever move he's made coming forward here as well. He's caught out the IS-3 at least, and he actually will be able to blow him up pretty quickly. And Karitz can only really just like try and, you know, slap him with a wet noodle, like, hey, stop hitting my friend. But now he's going to deal with the rest of Oops are going to be pushing down towards him. And his hunting, in fact, is actually going to be able to penetrate pretty much every shot towards the Leopard here as well. So, Karitz, please! This is why he's often in that tier 8 tank, but he's not hitting that shot when he needed to get it. And, well, he's going to get shot from behind as well. What a great push from Oops here. Wombats don't really know how to respond. They're already on the cap. They've got tanks way away from the action here. Duck of Death will take a hit and probably be reset before this is finished. But having lost Kusok and Karitz being so low as well is a good start for Oops.
You can see that basically Oops want to take down Karitz. I mean, they have to take him down to be able to guarantee that they can't get reset. They kind of made a mess of that one. It's a direct counter strategy to Wombat's standard tactic here. And only the biggest problem is that I didn't take down Karitz. So not going so well for them suddenly. Silence is now a one-shot. He'll fall in the next couple of seconds. And this counter strat just screwed up ever so slightly, and they're still in this game, but quite significantly behind now in terms of hit points.
Well, they changed their names on us, really. As Pavel is going to come around the corner anyway. I digress. As Duck of Death now really just has to try and hold this corner, get a little bit of side scrape if he can. Honey is the only tank up on that north side as well. He can't pig towards a Leopard because there are tanks sitting back. But now Just Cause comes across. He now wants to get to grips with Honey, but Honey gets a finish on Karitz. That might work out for Oops, as they still have the health point lead. The work they did earlier on is still paying off. White Flag Baguette seems like he's a long way from putting the flag up, actually. He's looking healthy. He's got Dumbness behind him who goes down. And they've just changed their names to what everyone in Twitch chat calls them. The memes. There's brilliant stuff here. But at least they can have a bit of a laugh about it, I'm sure. As Coca-Cola and Breakneck, though, they're not laughing. They're pretty damn serious. They're going to come around the corner looking for white flag Baguette, but he will be able to back away on towards the cap, and he can keep these two tanks busy for long enough that the rest of Oops can catch up. Well, maybe not quite. He still should get away. There's no track on towards white flag Baguette. That's what Wombats and Tanks were looking for. They won't get that, and there's going to be a little bit of support here for the FE215B in the coming moments. Yeah,
white flag Baguette might go down in this next shot. Yes, he does. A bit of a mistake from him. Probably should have just stayed alive. And this is going to make it a little bit harder. I thought he'd be better at running away in that position, but doesn't survive it. Breakneck's got his driver down, so it's going to be pretty slow in the FE215B. But, I mean, Genghis should be able to win this one either way, along with Fussy Eater with that MX-50B.
Yeah, Fussy's going to come forward now as well, and he knows that only Breakneck really has a shot primed and ready, and he lets it go. And now there's got to be some focus fire here. Breakneck, yep, you can see Fussy Eater's looking for him. Coca-Cola now on his own, and Genghis will be off in the wings to be able to take him out as well. At Coca-Cola, don't try and kill the 50B, bro. Kill the 113. No, it doesn't matter. It wasn't on reload anyway. So great start from Oops there. They get the first round on the attacking side, and it looks like Wombats and Tanks were completely blindsided by that push.
I mean, it was a direct counter strategy. Completely. I mean, Wombats have done this exact tactic every single time on the defensive side on Himmelsdorf, and Oops just said, we know what you're going to do. We've seen your lineup there, and we're going to counter it. I mean, first of all, they knew where they're going to be. They didn't have to worry about taking damage around corners. So they knew they could push in and they could take down the IS-3. That's the first thing they knew. That no problem at all. There's nothing there for Wombats at the beginning. They knew they could put the AMX-1390 behind to technically take down the Leopard. Didn't work out for them. I think that was probably their biggest mess up, which made the game a lot closer. That Leopard had fallen.
He was wrecked. Like, he had 3 crew members dead, but he was still somehow standing.
But the problem was, I mean, Oops wanted to take him down desperately, but they couldn't kill him. So they lost a lot of HP silence, for instance, in the FE215B. But still, I mean, with the 130 in the background, the 50B of Fussy Eater coming through the middle, like, it was still going to be Oops' game, especially considering Wombats pushed up that B line and managed to get themselves killed. Dumbness obviously didn't help himself in the MX-50B trying to head up the hill, but nonetheless, it's the first round to Oops. Yeah,
Dumbness was a little bit far forward, I feel, but he still managed to get a bit of damage across the line, even got a reload cycle in there, so can't really complain with 8 shots being done here as well. And you will notice that none of these top tanks getting more than 10 shots away here, so bit of a brawl it ended up being, of course, as it was down to just the 2 tanks in the end, but I like it from Oops. I don't think you're ever going to really get clean rounds against a team like Wombats on Tanks, not at this level anyway, or not at this point in the season, so be happy with that one. Karitz, they're actually holding well on that position. 2200 odd damage is pretty darn good considering you're using a sniper tank in a position that is brawling, so alright. Kusok got jumped on by the 50B. He wasn't going to survive very long here as well, and Silence could have done a bit more, I feel. A bit of a brazen push. But still, I mean, Oops, as I said, come away with that one here, but it's going to be a Virtus Pro attack now towards him. But I honestly think Oops, there's a lot to be said for young blood here. Oops do their homework, you know what I mean? Maybe I guess it wasn't so long that they're out of school, so they're still in the routine of doing that. But they always have a good read on what their opponents are doing here, and they've shown us that all through the season. I think KB actually did their homework better, to be honest. So there was a lot of counter-stratting there as well. But those two teams would know each other well, I think. I really do. However, 1-0 is the scoreline. We've got to be heading into this one pretty darn soon. Again on Himmelsdorf. Now it's the time for Virtus Pro to attack. And I've always favoured Oops on the defence side as well. I think they're just a solid... It's actually scary how solid they are and how well-rounded for their debut season in the WGLEU.
Yeah, I think they're just amazing. I mean, this is a team which really has the potential to be a season winner if they put their hearts and minds to it. And as you said, you know, the first season... Of course, a lot of their players have been in previous teams, in previous seasons, but still, I mean, some of them haven't, and that's really impressive. So, yeah, I love the way that Oops are playing the game. But, I mean, this is going to be their biggest test, the ultimate test of the season. They really have to pull out all those stops. Not only do they have to beat Wombats, but they also have a lot on the line.
No doubt about it. This is a very, very important game. In case you didn't get that one already, we're going to jump into the next one very, very soon. I'm just hyped for all these games, Oliver. We're going to see some damn good stuff, I'm sure of it. Or some dumb good stuff here if you're Oops. But we got a double back chat here for Wombats on Tanks and IS-4. 113 still being used here. Teams still put faith in it. And the Waffentrager coming out for Oops.
Yeah, a pretty standard defensive lineup from them with the triple autoload RU251 FE215Bs. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, back chat times 2 didn't work out for Wombats last time. Let's see if it does this time. And along with that AMX 1390.
Karitz on your screen here. He'll be trying to set some stuff up, I think, for the moment. As sorry guys, bit of technical problem there as well, but my mic is all working, no dramas. Now Korea's going to move forward here, looking for something in towards the middle of the map, and not going to see a whole lot as Honey is just zoomed in towards that corner. And it was actually a teammate shot towards him. I don't really know what that was about. I saw the Tracer come in. But Oops set up here as well towards that western side quite a lot. They've got about 4 or 5 tanks there. And Wombats going towards the hill, guys. Just Ollie's mic having a bit of problems right now, so give us a few secs. We'll be back with him. Hey, you can listen to my dulcet tones for now. As Just Cause is going to set up. We can even bring Melly in as a analyst here as well. She's seen more World of Tanks than I have, to be fair, so it's probably not terrible. But the hill is where Wombats on Tanks are right now as well, and they might try and push off that one. And look at Oops. They don't have much of a setup towards the north. It's literally just one Waffentrager, so they've got to be very, very careful. They've got their 50Bs really deep on the west, and this is excellent. This is a quick push from Wombats. Oops are not going to be ready for this one at all. Fussy Eater, he can't be fussy about the shots he takes coming up now, because there's going to be plenty of things to fire at, and Pavel already got across here, so now shots will come out, but even a full clip of every shot hitting is not going to be enough. Problem is here is that Oops aren't in position. They've got to bring those FE215Vs back, and it's going to be a slow walk for them. Fussy Eater wants to try and hold up Wombats on Tanks, but he's such a valuable tank, such a fragile tank, he doesn't want to have to be in that position. He's not a sponge. He doesn't want to soak up any shots, and there he goes. He's fired them all, and he will go down now. You will notice that you still have the health point lead, given that Fussy Eater, credit to him, was able to do a decent amount of damage, but it's spread. You see, no one is being focused down by him. He doesn't have the liberty to focus his fire. So Wombats now going to filter their way through up and towards the north side cap here, and Just Cause just backs up there looking for Honey, and he'll have him at least, but he's probably thinking more about the big fight that's about to occur on the north side of the map. Well, gets him anyway, takes a fair bit of damage as Genghis was off towards the side, able to fire in, and here come the Wombats. They're grouping up, they're going to push on towards this northern cap, and they've got the guns in the right place. There's a couple FV215Bs there for Oops, but they don't have their tanks in position, and it's always going to be an overmatch, one after the other for Wombats now, as they look for these tanks, and they just start to take them out. Duck of Death there as well, down to a one-shot. White Flag Baguettes had better days, there's no doubt about it. He'll go down as well. Oops keeping in step in terms of those health points here as Damnison somewhere able to use those 50Bs well, and now they can fire straight down towards these other Wombats tanks. These shots are very, very important, but once those 50Bs are on reload, it's good night Sally. Damnus has to back away. He's taken a heck of a lot of damage, and even Genghis as well is just going to have to back right on up. The cap will begin here, of course, as Somewhere is nowhere in particular right now, busy reloading, and now Wombats can just push forward. They're applying pressure to the right places with all of their pieces, I guess. And Genghis now will just have to back around the corner. He has no support. 50Bs are still reloading. And I think it does look like Somewhere and Dumbness want to just try and group up and stop any sort of cap here. But unfortunately, Genghis now has to be the one that takes all the damage. Even Karitz is up on the hill to fire at him. He's almost finished his reload. Now he fires down. Genghis takes a shot. He's going to take another one just after that as well. And he'll fall over. Just 2 left. Someone now having to back his way through. And Wombats aren't in a hurry to capture here, ladies and gentlemen. You can see that 5 tanks they've got, 4 tanks on the move close towards the middle of the map. They'll be more than happy to just try and clean up as much as they possibly can and make their way through. Is it Somewhere and Dumbness are split? They weren't even able to use these AMX 50Bs together, which is definitely a big shame here. And Somewhere now just going to have to whirl his way on through out towards the side. 6 minutes left in this one, which is definitely not a lot of time at all. And Wombats, well, it's not a lot of time for Oops to stay away. It's too much, perhaps, as they can use the FE215B. Push here, up on towards the cap. And they're going to be able to get onto that one as well. So Oops struggling there a little bit, of course. The first little push was really what hurt them. They only had the one Waffentrager up on the 8 line. He had to receive the push from the entirety, honestly, of Wombats. And so Oops committing so heavily towards that western part of the map, should I say, didn't have the pieces in place. They brought their FV215Bs, but they had to go up against 5. Wombats managed to take down 3 or 4 tanks of Oops without losing one of their own, and that was just purely on virtue of the overmatch scenarios. It really doesn't get any simpler. Somewhere now just has to make his way through. 15 seconds left on the clock here. Not a lot of time at all for Somewhere, at least to get a reset, but after that he has to back away. And you can see that Wombats are all looking in the correct direction. Somewhere does get some shots across, but he's a one-shot. He should have backed away maybe a little bit earlier. It doesn't matter what he does, he's always going to go down. And good timing. Oliver's got his mic fixed finally here. And Wombats with 4.5k health managed to get it done.
I didn't get to really see too much, but yeah, I think that last capping round was pretty insane. I was in trying to fix the mic just below the desk, but it seems to be okay. Let me know in chat if it's working. Obviously, it's a slight delay, so I don't really know about that one, but yeah, what happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much standard push off the hill, like we said. And there was only one tank left back for Oops to receive the push off the hill. Virtus.pro didn't stay on the hill and wait. They didn't stuff around. Yeah. They pushed straight off it there. And there was no time, of course, for Oops to respond. We did, of course, see the Waffentrager of Fussy to just get completely smashed. He did his full clip of damage, but to who? Well, pretty much everyone. One shot each to all these tanks coming down. Couldn't focus the fire. And that's really the way the cookie crumbles here. I think the damage count back will tell us a lot about the way this one went through as well. But 1-1 on Himmelsdorf it is here as well. We expect that from these two teams, to be fair?
I think that's fair enough. I mean, both teams won with a hill push. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, very quick games. Wombats have done that. And I think Himmelsdorf in general, if it isn't a 1-1, unless it's a 2-0 or something, I mean, that's generally indicative that it's going to be a pretty one-sided match. Sure. So, I mean, 1-1's going to be pretty normal and probably give us a good idea that the match is going to be closer.
Coca-Cola there with over 4k damage done here. So he was just part of the firing squad that really belted down the hill. Genghis in the middle, able to hold on for a little while as well. And Fussiita, this is the sad part, he was 1v5 and still did second top damage on the side of Oops. So, at least he was able to set up and receive a push instead of Oops, who were constantly chasing or trying to get in position. And it really didn't work out for them at all. So you can see that even Bishop getting involved with a good amount of damage there on 7th. And as we go to the next page as well, you can see the problem there. Honey, no expectations really on him. 250Bs and Dunderson somewhere were too late to the party. The whole point of using 50B is when there are other more important tanks to be focused as part of a second line of attack. But unfortunately, they didn't get to the fight until the rest of the team was dead, and as such, got melted down.
Yeah, so that's Himmelsdorf done and dusted. Prokhorovka kind of next, just two completely different maps. And I really like Oops. I think this is going to be the map which they can actually put a couple of rounds on if they can actually do it on any map. Wombats haven't been strong. We've seen Wombats, for instance, lose 2-0 on this one, I think, against Tornado. Yeah. So I think for Oops, this is their real chance. This is where they need to be putting some work in. I hope they have an interesting, a different kind of tactic. I hope they don't get allowed to slow down. Like Wombats always slows the teams down and then it breaks them down piece by piece. If you go fast and furious, you have something new, that's really where Wombats start to struggle.
Double T110 E5 here on Prokhorovka, which always tends to work fairly well if you're using it in a defensive context. And Wombats go with the 113 and a bunch of STBs here as well. So we'll have to see how they intend to use these ones here. But Prokhorov was always an interesting one. We saw, of course, some interesting play earlier on in the evening from Penta, if I'm not mistaken there. Not convincing from them really at all. So we'll have to see if Oops may be a little bit well drilled. And HD's back, but he's not on artillery this time, which is really quite strange. I always expect to see the Lorraine here, maybe on the defensive side. But Oops are attacking here in the blue.
Yeah, interesting to see HD, how he performs in the RU251. It's an important tank. You have to perform. I mean, we've seen already today Raging Potato doing 3,009 HP damage in his 251 on a cliff. Of course, his team Penta still lost that one. But Wombat's going towards the right side on the defensive side. Going to send Karit up the hill. STB's 113s, I mean, pretty standard stuff from them, just controlling that right side area. You've got TPP up north in A6, control cap number 2. And I think they're just playing this tactic because they know that Penta with the double T110 E5 are going to be pretty slow towards cap number 1. They have to worry about it. They can get the 113 hull down in E6 and traverse towards that area later. Remember last time that they had an I7 here. They also had, I think, a Leopard or something like that, and maybe an STB1. Played by Kusok and B5, and it got absolutely crunched down very quickly. So pretty interesting they've gone for the 113 this time.
Let's see now, Duck of Death and Dumbness set up in towards the middle of the map here. And they can do a lot of hull down work here. Very, very hard for Wombats to break this part of the map. And to be fair, also good shots over towards that capture point number 1 if there's anyone from Wombats trying to reset. So Oops have good cover over the middle, no doubt about it. Bishop is there on the 113. It's all about the IS-7. Seems that teams are still a little bit undecided. I think some teams maybe underrate the armor of the IS-7. Some teams maybe overrate it. They take it too much. So it's very much seems to be a matter of preference here. But after the changes, I guess, it seems to be a bit more popular. Duck of Death, surprisingly enough, actually taking a hit in the middle of the map. interesting given his position there. Maybe didn't have the best hold down, or maybe wasn't angled all that well. And HD's just really trying to find something here as well. It's interesting to see, a player that plays scout. Tank's now playing artillery as well. I guess it helps in the way that you think, because when you're playing artillery, all you want is a good scout, and maybe vice versa. HD onto the cap.
Yeah, nice. I think this area he's got in now, it's going to be pretty hard for Bishop to spot him. It's not normal. Breakneck also receives a lot of damage, about 750. And yeah, it's a good start for an Oops. You can't really argue with this one. The two T110E5s, of course, hold down. Bishop will be pretty useless to do anything about that. Breakneck has got to be careful because you can penetrate the top of the STB's turret, no problem at all. So, I mean, for me right now, I just think... I think the onus on Wombats to go forwards, right? They need to be making the move. They need to be actually trying something here, because with those T110s, there's no way Wombats can get the peaks particularly effectively. Okay, They've got a couple of shells here and one onto Fussy Eater, and that's brought the HP more or less even.
Yeah, a little bit of a peak going a long way there now as well. On the 113, but what's their gun depression like here for the 113, Ollie? Does he have to get too far over to reset here?
Gun depression on 113 is pretty good, but it's so close to the ground. It's you don't really have... There's not really that much to press. I mean, if you're right next to the ground, it's hard to do anything about it. Silence just gets taken down pretty low. Yeah, I mean, big barrel guns are always never going to be amazing hold down, and especially when they're low. So Bishop's going to be pretty
doing all right.
He's doing all right. He's bouncing a lot. Gross is trying to do damage. Silence is actually on the side now, and Fussy Eater does go, and that's bad news for Oops.
Yeah, absolutely. They need that STB there as well to ward off this kind of thing, actually. HD getting pressured now, and yes, some damage has been done back, but HD just avoiding there a potentially nasty shot coming in towards him, and still Coca-Cola lingering here at the front. He gets a shot towards it, 251. Look at the control. That 113 now. Bishop is able to get his gun down one way or another, and he's shrugged off a heck of a lot of damage. You can see in that 113, it's pretty important where you face the front of your tank here. It's not pike nose, it's a flat front, but it is well angled. So you point it in the direction of those two 110E5s, which is what Bishop's doing here. And honestly, he's working out for him. He's still alive.
Yeah, he is just about hanging on. And yeah, I mean, I think what's really surprised Oops was that Silence getting spotted in that STV1 has kind of caught them by surprise, because he was doing damage towards Breakneck and he could shoot down towards Bishop when he peaked. So yeah, I mean, that's a bit surprise for them. But Pavel received some shells, and yeah, I mean, it's about 1,300 to 1,700 HP. White Fat Baguette just gets caught out by Kusok and Karitz, and
everyone's getting caught.
Right now, everyone's starting to receive damage. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, Wombats on the defensive side still don't have to do anything about it. As long as they're doing the peaks, they're getting the damage done, no problem at all. And Oops look like they want to start egressing towards probably the lower side, the southern side of that middle, and just push out across to go for a hull down positioning.
Well, I mean, no pressure really on Wombats right now, to be honest. They've gotten two tanks off the map. They've got plenty of health on their side as well. A lot of cover. As Kusok as well can just go up towards these train tracks. And it's a little bit tricky at range, I guess, to really nail shots underneath them. So see a lot of shots bouncing there at the edge. So he's just being a real pain in the butt. I don't really see, Oliver, how Wombats need to change much here. It's more Oops has to do something, but what from here? I mean, you've lost your capping tank, you've lost an STB1 as well. You're really limited in resources now.
Yeah, you have basically no positions to go forwards. I think you have to rely on Wombats to make the mistake. Maybe start to lose a lot of damage in these peaks. Maybe Kusok receives another 800 to 1,000 and starts to go a little bit low, but he's not. He's playing it well, and he's playing the STB in a great position. It's a very hard shot to make through those train carts, so he's got to be careful though. I mean, at the end of the day, he could fall, and if White Flag Baguette gets up into a position against Karitz and Silence joins him in that position as well, like that's Karitz down. Kusok trying to peak the whole time against T110E5s will eventually not work for them as well. The 113 of Bishop and the STB1 is starting to push up north, so maybe those two want to try and go for a little flank.
Well, we'll see, these 110E5s are very important. I think probably integral to any success, if possible, for Oops here. But Kusok is getting consistent peaks towards him, and he's actually avoided a heck of a lot of damage. So many shots thudding into the hillside on the other side of the train track. But still, we do have Duck of Death having been able to move forward here. So this is probably a good step in the right direction now, as he's looking for Breakneck, who's just sitting pretty there behind most of those rail carts. So Duck of Death, this is a bit of an awkward situation when you're lit and you're constantly being lit and you can't see anyone else. It's like, where should I be looking? Where should I be angling? Duck of Death will take one hit. Honestly, he could have taken a lot more in that position. Could have been a lot worse for him. Dumbness will join him now. But Dumbness side onto Breakneck, has to be careful, can't stay there for too long, and it looks like Grossos are going to join them. So they cross over the train track now as well, with limited information about Wombats setup here as well. Could be pretty risky.
Yeah, they're going to receive a lot of damage. There's just causes on the hill. Hopefully he finds Dumbness before Dumbness can find Povel. And it's going to be Duck of Death to fall. And it looks like Oops are starting to wane in HP.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty darn solid hold here for Wombats. Oops have been forced to push into this defensive setup. And yeah, while they're going to be able to do some damage back, Dumbness shanks that shot royally. Is not able to take down Povel, or at least do any damage to him now. White flag Baguette raises his, and Grosso now moving forward for Povel, and he's going to go down as well. Honestly, he's a one shot to anyone. He's pretty much right in the middle of the whole focus of Wombats. It's just a solid defensive setup, Ollie. I really find it hard to be too critical of it there, and Wombats will go 2-1 up here. A good defensive round. Didn't seem like anything too crazy, really, but this double 110 E5 coming out here, we honestly normally see it on defensive side sometimes as well, for resets and stuff like that. What was the plan here for Oops to be using those? Because I felt like they just didn't really achieve maybe their intention for being on the
Well,
map.
they were just there to try and go hull down and make sure that they could win the peaks against the SDBs in the middle.
Yeah.
I think the problem came in with the SDB of Fuss Eater up and towards that second cap in the north. He fell. Like, that's game over, basically.
Right.
He did nothing. We see the damage come back. He probably did very little damage. Silence also getting spotted up north. Not sure exactly what he got spotted by. I think it was probably Creates in the RU251. And him receiving 1,100 damage also wasn't good, because he also had to vacate that position just because he had to be... If he couldn't go through that whole of... that whole like hurrah of being spotted again, because he would receive another 1,000 damage and he'd be dead.
Too risky, yeah.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta do it once and then it's over.
Exactly. Like, he's going to go down, and yeah, I mean, you could see Silence was the guy shooting Povel, the STB one. So yeah, that was not going to be possible after that point in time. So yeah, I think Wombats did a great job of just breaking fundamentally the tactic of Oops, and yeah, that 113 worked very well for them as well. It bounced just as much as an IS-7, maybe a little bit less, but it's got more HP to play around with, and you can see Povel didn't do much, and basically no one from Oops did. And Wombats played it well when Oops played through the middle as well. I mean, they hit the shots when the entry was coming in from Oops, and they kept control with the FE2, the TVP on the hill as well. So as long as you can keep control of that eastern village, you don't have to worry about any other counter-attack. You have to worry about your other tanks in north and south being sniped out. So yeah, good round here for Wombats on the first iteration of Brokrovka, and now they get to attack, which is probably the harder side.
Yeah, I feel so, or at least seeing what Wombats and Tanks were able to do there as well. By the same token, I mean, I think Wombats and Tanks are pretty good coming forward. I definitely am confident for them in this one as well. Will we see artillery? You know, will we see HD bringing out the Lorraine or anything like that, or are they just going to go for something completely different? I don't know, really. If they're going to put HD on an RU251, maybe they have something else in mind. We'll have to wait and see, though. Of course, Kusok, as we know, is a very distinguished artillery player in himself. So, you know, a lot of possibilities here. We're going to wait to jump in, as I think the players are just getting a couple of things sorted out. So, wrong setup, but I will show something on my screen anyway. We did get a nice tweet in from Paul, actually, who does get involved a little bit here. So, we'll show that on my screen in a moment when we can.
10 out of 10 pictures.
Yeah, I like it. Like, he's gone to all the effort of cropping our faces perfectly out. No, he's just used circles there. But is that a turnip on my head? Oh, that's a farmer's hat. Okay.
Farmer's hat.
And I've got turnips there as well. And I like it because we talked about Thomas the Tank.
I thought you'd be the
as
fan
well.
inspector, to be honest, in that picture.
All right, steady on there, mate. Obviously, train simulator there, Ollie, of course.
And Farmville.
Yeah, no,
Simulator,
it's
whatever it is,
Harvest
farming
Moon.
simulator.
Harvest Moon. It's honestly my favourite game. If you ever see it, if you ever played it, let me know. It's a lot of fun. But let's talk about World of Tanks, Ollie. That's what's more important to us right now. As we are going to go into this next round, Wombats on Tanks would be rubbing their hands together to get another win here as well. And they'd love to throw the spanner in the works for Oops. So we're going to ask, ladies and gentlemen, was that first round from Oops just a fluke? Did they just catch the Wombats off guard? Or do they have what it takes to go head-to-head with these absolute veterans and superstars of World of Tanks esports? Well, stick around. We're about to find out, Ollie.
Yeah, Wombats are really the opposite number to Oops. Wombats have been around since Season 1. Oops have just joined in Season 2. And obviously that I'm talking about Season 1 back in the day, the original Season 1 of the World of Tanks Pro League. So completely different teams. And I think Oops has shown that the new boys can teach the old dogs some new tricks. So we have to see exactly how they manage to perform. Pretty normal setup from both teams. The SDBs of Wombats on that 1-3 line. Support there by the TVPs in the background. 113 hull down in the middle. And the same goes for Oops. I mean, I think for Oops, their best bet is looking at their lineup, a right side push. I mean, just going super aggressive. They need, the thing is about this 1-3 line, you need to be aggressive the whole time, because if you allow the other team to come forward from that 1-3 line, you're going to be down very quickly. If they get too close to you, if they can just run through those bushes and you don't have a forward spotter, let's say White Flapper gets taken down, the game's already over. So the Whoops really need to play it aggressively, not be too passive in this position.
Wombats have plenty of bushes to hide behind, but only one Bishop, and he's actually towards the middle of the map. Just set up some blind shots in towards the center. So we do actually have, 110E5 actually out towards that far east side. So, I mean, has to do a little bit of traveling to get involved in the action. Genghis is just bird watching right now, I think, is there's not going to be a lot he can really see from here. But, I mean, in time, he'll be able to get in position. I don't really think... I mean, Oops is saying if Wombats make a decisive push towards him, that they're going to have the firing squad ready. Now, Kusok's been spotted. He probably
bad
would...
news there.
Yeah, was that, sorry?
That's pretty bad news. I mean, it depends if Oops really press that left mouse button or if they want to play for the longer game. Because I think maybe they realistically only got like maybe 800 damage out.
Yeah.
Because he was slightly hull down and behind a mound.
Karit's there. So
I thought that was Honey next to Karit.
Yeah, I know. It was just when you switch players quickly, you get sometimes a bit of funniness with the health bars. Well, this is smart from Wombats. I've got to give them credit for this. They're pulling out, they get rid of Povil and Kusok on that side of the map. So now this is going to make Oops dance a little bit here. They have a RU251 and they have a T110E5 on this side of the map. Now, I don't know how much camo, how much hull down Genghis expects to have in that position. But if Wombats are decisive, which they have been, they were on Himmelsdorf, if you want to think back to that solo cast of mine, they're just going to push through, and there's not going to be enough time for Wombats to actually react, for Oops to react to this, sorry. Breakneck's going to come forward, 2 tanks up the hill. Honey hasn't seen anything yet. He doesn't quite know what's happening. There's a 130 in the middle, and a couple of mediums to bring up the rear. So Honey is on the move. He's pulled off the hill, so he must have an inkling of what's going on here, but I don't think he spotted anyone, so this is interesting.
I think Breakneck wanted to come and kill him because he was spotted by Karit, but it's actually turned out like Breakneck's been spotted and in a bit of an awkward position now. He can be shot by Genghis, and if Oops send someone forwards or send Honey forwards in RU251, this whole push out from Wombats will be spotted. So I like the positioning from Oops, as long as they don't lose these top 3 tanks from A6 to A9, maybe A0. They will be doing very well for themselves, but if Wombats all just push in at the same time, take these 3 tanks out before those STBs and TVPs can do anything about it, that's game over.
So I think it's safe to say, Oliver, that there's no fast cap potential here for Wombats. So they're going to win the game. They're going to win it by sheer force, I think, now. They do move forward. They might actually attempt to cap, but there's always going to be the resetting potential of the 110E5. Karitz has been spotted, so he knows there's something up there. It's a bit of a dead giveaway, really, as he's going to blind fire. I don't think that's towards Genghis. I don't think he's been lit yet. No, look at all the foliage in front of him. Plenty of the protection for him. But Silent's actually the first to be lit. He takes 2 big hits, and Wombats hadn't even really gone for a cap then, so Silence had no reason to be there where his teammates could spot for him, and Wombats weren't even trying to cap, so I don't really know what that was about, Ollie.
Yeah, and Genghis misses his first shell, Silence misses his first shell, but this is a good position from Genghis because he is hull down in a T110E5. It's super unusual. You still got that RU251 of Honeyfrack on the hill if you really want to get that reset. So yeah, Genghis is just going to be a massive pain for Wombats right now.
It's almost like just a one-off draw card having Honeyfrack on the hill, because if he goes to reset, he'll probably be lit. With the RU251 so close. But now another switch here. This could be very, very nice, actually. Wombats are going to try and catch Oops on the rotate. It's Fuss Eater in the middle and Bishop. Well, that's why the 113 is bad. Okay, bad take. Got tracked in the middle, got set on fire. Bishop's probably just belting his keyboard right now. He's a very placid guy. I don't think he's doing that at all. He's probably saying, well, dang, I'm going to send a strongly worded letter to Oops about that. But it's still in the middle, of course. Wombats tried to catch them on the rotate, but losing Bishop there is pretty devastating. Let's see if they can make up for it, though. Shots are coming in. A Fussy Eater goes very, very low, and Just Cause got all of his shots away. He backs up now. Breakneck looking to get some finish off. The cleanup clue is in. The janitor, as it were. Kusok finishes off on Silence, and this is a nice turnaround, but Wombats still have work to be done. Not over yet now, as Hoops still have the health points, but they are down 1 tank. Let's see if Wombats can actually exploit that fact. As Grosser cleverly enough stays safe behind there. He'll drop down now as well. Just Cause finds a shot to his rear. Damnus will fall. He will get probably 2, maybe. Oh, Just Cause pulling the trigger a little bit early there. He needed that shot, and now he will fall. If he didn't miss that shot, he might have survived here. 2v4, and Wombats just starting to run out of puff now.
Yeah, the T110E5 came into the equation. You also had White Flag Baguette get 5 shots out into the back of that push for Wombats, so they received a lot of damage there, and it's going to be Oops to pick up this round surely. Two-man remaining for Wombats. It's going to be Breakneck in a Batchat and Coca-Cola in a Logic 140, and yeah, I mean, they both know where each other are. Breakneck's trying to fight White Flag Baguette, probably just trying to get some ego play from him.
Yeah, absolutely, of course, but I don't know how much ego you're going to get for trying to... Oh, he set on fire as well. That's unfortunate. He does manage to alleviate that problem there as well. I doubt it was a fire extinguisher. He drops down, so Breakneck actually makes this a 2v2, and this is on the back of Oops not really being in ideal positioning here, so they're actually still in this one. I never thought I'd say this. Breakneck is looking okay. He can 1v1 Honeyfrack here. And if he survives that, he and Coca-Cola... Oh... He could justifiably take on Genghis, but now Coca-Cola's a one-shot to Genghis, and I don't really think he's got that much armor there as well. He misses that shot. Coca-Cola, I mean, not the most experienced of Wombats on Tanks players there, but he's been around for a while, but looks like he's just a little bit jittery here, Oliver.
Yeah, he is, but he's still not a one-shot for that RU251, so Honey couldn't go in for that one, but Genghis, with that 390 damage, is Breakneck just trying to go in for the clutch right now. He could potentially do it, but Genghis is no support.
Yeah, Genghis should make the shot. It's not enough, though, to finish off. Breakneck has 3 shots to go. No! He needed to hit that shot. That could have been it, but he's missed it. And now, Breakneck has to play for the sneaky ninja kill. He's a one-shot, and Genghis has over 1k health, which, by the way, would have still been enough for Breakneck to kill with 3 shots. Breakneck realizes he's screwed the pooch, and he's going to back off and reload. He's not even going to stay around to fire those 2 shots. He knows he needs to play around this one a little bit differently near. Genghis has 1 chance to kill him, realistically. 1 shot. So there's still a lot of pressure on this T110E5, but if he takes his time and plays it safe, he'll get him. But Breakneck, this positioning is damn good. First shot doesn't connect. He's still not spotted, though. Genghis could be in trouble here. He does take another shot. Breakneck looking for his next one as well. Genghis trying to get over the line. He's tracked, but there was no more shots to come from Breakneck. Or there was 1, actually, but you can see how ready Genghis was to repair that one. He's not messing around here as well. So Breakneck has an idea of where he's going to go, Ollie, an idea. But Genghis will probably go back to that double bush area, that well camoed up area, and Breakneck's going to have a little bit of a tough time finding him. But it's still possible.
If Breakneck, if Genghis didn't have a camo repair kit actually in that situation, that would have been game over. That would have been Genghis out of this completely. So that was a really good play by Breakneck. But Genghis, equally good play that he didn't actually blow that repair kit earlier on in the match when he obviously could have done. And Honey, you know, should have kept that momentum going. He should have been the one playing around the map the whole time, being aggressive, trying to go fast, and he definitely hasn't put his teammate in a particularly good situation. 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. That's not enough time for one tank to cap anymore. And Genghis, of course, a 2-shot, potentially a 3-shot actually for Breakneck. Only 1 required for Genghis, or even a light ram.
Yeah, 390 average alpha on the Batchat, Oliver?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you have to roll pretty darn well. It's within the realm of possibility, but I wouldn't be banking on it here if I was Breakneck. And the thing is, it depends where he goes towards Genghis here as well. Genghis will always have a little bit of early warning, because Breakneck has to come down the hill. And if you look at where the path between him and Genghis, no cover. No. So Breakneck has to careen down the hill. Genghis should see him first, and he will have to snap his turret into position. They spot each other at the same side. Breakneck, sorry, misses the first shot. And Genghis is actually just being patient here, but he's going to have to fire pretty quickly. Breakneck might be able to pick him up here. The bounce from the Batchat, the Hail Mary, the once in a blue moon comes in for Breakneck. He's got 1 shot now. Genghis, though, has reload. It's 1v1. Breakneck gets it done, and the Wombats go 3-1. We were already counting them out, but Breakneck is so good. What a freaking beast. He clutches around now for the Wombats.
I think he hit the top of that commander's copy. I never expected
How do you bounce that shot, dude?
We did be talking about the clutches on the Batchat bounces for like 4 match days already. How many Batchat bounces have we seen, like, where matches have been lost? Unbelievable stuff. Of course, Breakneck on the hill in that situation. Actually, the T110 has an advantage because that Batchat hull is more of a right angle to that T110. That should have never happened. And of course, that T110E5 has good penetration, 330. So insane stuff. I mean, absolutely insane. Should have never happened. Breakneck, first of all, setting on fire the Batchat, already insane enough.
Yes.
And then also bouncing a shot from the T110E5 after missing that first one. Just ridiculous stuff from him.
It was a 4v2. That's the thing. A 4v2 situation, and somehow, some way, they managed to turn it around. Even after a lot of missed opportunities from Wombats and Tanks, that could have been a lot cleaner. They had the 2v2, and they're like, okay, it's only a 110.5 and a 251 that was left. Breakneck, 5.5k, well-deserved. The guy's a machine, literally a machine. Genghis, of course, is up there too, but this is going to pad Breakneck's damage stats out quite nicely.
Genghis was the one who actually clutched the first batch chat round on the first match day.
Yeah, it was too.
So
karma, baby.
A bit of karma there for him, for sure. You can't. The thing is, at the end of the day, that was Oops' game. First of all, they got set on fire. Second of all, the T110 bounced. Third of all, I think I want to see. It's so annoying we can't see the first person because I want to see where he actually shot Genghis there, where he penetrated, because that top of the turret was the only place he could have really hit. And but there was issues. For instance, White Flag Baguette playing super passively towards that red line, trying to flank around, should have been more aggressive on the hill to keep Breakneck at bay. You also had a position where Honeyfrack was not being aggressive enough in the I-251, playing a bit too statically, should have been trying to run around the map, staying behind the rock, so Genghis could obviously be in that position. But he's just trying to kill that Object 140. Insane stuff, 3 versus 1, Breakneck gets it done. And what can I say? One hell of a match.
Yeah, it was so sick. And I think our internet broke because of that as well. It literally broke the internet. So normally we go to Melly, of course, Melly, and get some votes here. But because our internet in the studio is down, we might come back to that a little bit later on if you don't mind. What we need to do now, unfortunately, is go to a break, guys, and just get that sorted out here as well so we can jump back into it. It's 3 for Wombats. It's 1 for Oops. One of the most clutch rounds we've seen all season. And we've seen some clutch rounds. Guys, we'll be back as soon as possible. We're going to get this sorted out, and we'll be back with your last game of this first day of a big week, of course, the last match week. We'll see you soon. Well, thankfully, guys, that wasn't too long a break, actually. Just an intermittent dropout in our interwebs, and luckily we still got to see the game, which is great. So we're back, and the teams are pretty much ready to go. But now, I guess, Melly, we have a chance to check in with you about the votes for this one as well. You said they were open beforehand. I mean, it's still super even. It might be 3-1, but that's just on paper.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what the community is on up to, but I mean, it seems like they're heading the correct way with only giving 62% to Wombats on Tanks.
Not a lot, really, considering.
Not really, no, because we're definitely used different. For everyone who just tuned in and haven't watched our shows before, this voting always revolves around the 80% marker for Wombats on Tanks, and that's very uncommon for them to have such a low voting. And yes, thank you for getting involved. That was the 4th round, and I really can't wait for Twitch chat's reaction, and it's going to happen. So hashtag
so
WGLEU, tell us what you thought. I mean, I was chatting with my producer. Yeah, that's 2-2. Okay.
I just saw the RU251 also missed the shell against Breakneck, and Genghis after that only did 331 damage. Like the things that came together for him to win that round is insane.
The stars aligned there, but I mean, no one's really going to complain about that one. Absolutely, of course. Let's go on a game now. Let's jump into our next map, of course. It's going to be Cliff here as well, which will be super interesting. And actually, to my understanding, perhaps it's a Oops pick here?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'll have to check it, but yeah, I think it's Oops.
I remember Cliff, what was it, Season 4 finals here. And that was where Virtus Pro had big problems on Cliff. I think that was actually against School Bus. That's where they lost the grand final.
Yeah.
Did they lose the grand final or lost the map?
No, they lost the grand finals, and I think they was against Hellraisers on.
No. I'm talking about the studio finals here.
Oh right.
Season
I thought you were talking about the grand finals.
No.
Bad. Yeah, I don't know. On Cliff.
Yeah, it was
Season 4.
because Povell fell off the hill.
Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah, someone suicided into the middle of the cliff and died.
Yeah.
I think it was Povell. Yeah.
And he was, they didn't like him very much after that. But anyway, or was that Povell from School Bus? I don't know. Maybe that's why they kicked him out. Maybe. Either way, it was Povell. So, Wombats defending to start things off here now. Oops attacking. I mean, tank-wise, there's a couple TVPs and a bat chat here for Oops. And, well, quite a few bat chats. Triple bat chat here. Oh, dear. Look at this. Wombats have got the perfect little crossfire, and they've tracked. They've hit the tracks. That's all you have to do. Fussy got double tracked, which is perma-tracked in other words, and they take him off the map straight away. That's why you watch where you aim, even if you're firing gold ammunition.
Yeah, and that's why you don't really just send just 2 tanks into the F line, because you know that it's going to be an overmatch situation. You're going to die very quickly indeed. And the TVPs in the background didn't do anything. I think that was just bad decision making from Oops. It was definitely a massive gamble from them. And yeah, I mean, Wombats are so far ahead at this point in time, you can't really argue with it at all. And I think this is going to be already game over for them.
Yeah, I think so. They've lost Honey, they've lost Fussy. That's not ideal at all there. I mean, Grossa now sitting in this position as well. He's, across towards that donut just a little bit more, looking for some of those extra Wombats players here. And Duck of Death has been able to catch on to Karitz here. Maybe came just a little bit too far forward. Dumbness is the man now. He's going to be in a bit of trouble for a moment. Karitz has brought his big brothers, and they're not as nice, or they're not as small as him either. Duck of Death taking a heck of a lot of damage, and Dumbness as well. It's the beatdown. Coming street side is almost now just pushing his way forward really aimlessly at the moment, maybe looking to try and finish Karitz off, but he still has an entire reload cycle to get rid of first. And Grossa did manage to get the pick off here. Breakneck backs around the corner, but Oops only with 4k hit points to work with, Oliver. It's not a great sign. It's only 1 tank down, to be fair, and Kusok is low. I feel like Wombats are going to be the guys that make it work in this situation. It's not like them to throw big leads.
Oh, and Duck of Death actually misses that shell. He should have hit that one against Breakneck. He would be dead at this position. So bounces for him. I mean, bad play by Duck of Death. If he hit that one, he might have been a different situation he was in there. But yeah, I mean, I was just about to say Wombats are in the worst positions for sure. The lower ground, stuck in between 2 places, but of course Kusok was on that hill as well. That's the problem there. So White Flag Baguette's got a lot to do here. Grossa trying to go into the middle, engage Coca-Cola, who's come up in that bat chat, and Coca-Cola not in a particularly great position right now. But still, Wombats so far ahead in this game, you can't argue with it.
No, really. White Flag Baguette is a one-shot, and Grossa not far away from that either. And we can see that Oops, we can see that where, I guess, everything went wrong. It's pretty easy to diagnose the issue for them here. If you're going to go towards that western side of the map, you had sure as hell better hope the enemy aren't waiting for you. We used to do it way back in 742. It was super common to have a bunch of tanks set up there in case the enemy wants to go to that side. You should always at least start there as well. Leave some tanks back.
Yep.
I mean, Wombats did that. That's pretty easy. And now, Oliver, stuff starts to get real.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is throw patrol right now. I mean,
Tilt gaming.
I think this is game over right now for Oops. I mean, that round was terrible. I think, we said Prokhorovka should have been a 2-2. Breakneck brings it to all to bear and managed to pick up that round. And yeah, right now after that one, not good stuff at all from Oops. And 4-1 scoreline, we're a match point suddenly. And this is how Sim 68 works. You lose one round, which you should have won, and you go into the hospital with a lot more than just scratches.
Absolutely. And we see it was actually Wombats on tanks, started in the valley, they moved up towards the hill, and then they came back when Karitz, let them know that, hey, there's still a couple of TVPs here. We can go 4v2 and just wreck them. They're like, all right, let's go straight down the hill and straight into them as well. So a lot of flexibility for Wombats. Definitely bolstered by Breakneck's performance, surely, in the last game. I mean, that guy has got to be grinning from ear to ear. And on the other side of things, not looking so rosy here for the guys from Oops. Breakneck and Just Cause looking pretty darn sharp, plus 3k damage, so both of them there. Just great work for them. That was those first few shots coming out. Shoot the damn tracks. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing stuff from that one. But I don't know. I just don't see, I feel bad for Oops now. I just don't see any way back from them. I'm just thinking what they're going to do. I mean, they have to be aggressive. They have to go forwards. And yeah, I mean, I think right now it's just going to be game over. Oops have basically said, okay, we can't actually be in a 1-3 scoreline. We maybe can't be in second place. We've got to play those pre-playoffs. We've got to go through all that trials and tribulations again after being in first place for so long. And they lost at least a point here. So, I mean, realistically, the best you can do is be on even grounds with Tornado Rocks on 23 points. Wombats on tanks would have 21 points. Of course, that would be in third place for them. So, yeah, I mean, I think tied for first when he got ding as well on Thursday. Wombats on Tanks on Thursday. It's not going to be enough. You've got at least 2 chances for a team to be second.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Oops have at least shown that they've been able to, to play fairly well up against the other teams in the league.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not so bad if they do have to go towards the pre-playoffs, of course, and actually get their way through there.
Yeah.
Might not be the end of the world, but we're just seeing that teams.
Well, for Wombats on Tanks last time, they obviously won the finals through the pre-playoffs. They played through the pre-playoffs, and then for the first time they had to play through the pre-playoffs. They went to the finals and they actually managed to win it all. So, yeah, well for them at least.
Yeah.
After having every other season gone straight away into day 2, failed parlously in the semi-finals or the finals, and only have picked up 1 season title before that.
Yep.
And then they had They had 2 season titles out of like 6. Not good from them.
Well, not ideal. I was locked in with the lull tractor, by the way. That's why the guys haven't started playing. I'm trying to pad my stats a bit.
PZ something. PZH.
I just want to get my efficiency up a bit, so just hoping for some good games on Province, but unfortunately didn't get any of those. So we're going to be jumping into this one now, though. Everyone's politely waited for me to get ready here, and everyone seems to want to piss me off today. We're going to find out why in just a second. We're going to have a look at our tank picks in a moment, as we do go in 11113 for Oops, double TVP, and triple Bat Chat for Wombats on Tanks.
Yeah, it's a fast and furious lineup. We've actually seen that one today already, I believe, and we saw a triple TVP double Bat Chat as well. So, yeah, I mean, a very, very star-studded lineup from Wombats. Obviously, Oops with a triple 113, something different, and they have to try something new here. I think Oops have to start the rot. They have to be aggressive. They have to really start to say, okay, well, we're down. We lost that one round on Prokhorovka, which obviously brought it to 1-3. And we have to do the same to Wombats. We have to get those clutches.
Well, Wombats now, match point. Oops. This is, again, was it a 5-1 to Connect Abroad as well?
Yeah, a 4-1, wasn't it?
The game ended 5 rounds.
Yeah, 5-1.
Shocking stuff from Oops here. After such a strong start to the season, however, luckily, they got themselves enough wins up to this point to set themselves at least for a decent spot in the pre-playoffs, but I'd still be a little bit disappointed with myself given how far I've fallen. Now, Coca-Cola comes forward. He spots the early push. This is very, very quick from the Bat Chats. Let's see if they can get the damage down. Grosser weren't able to track him, but somewhere also the subject of a lot of damage. Not much is being done back towards the Wombats here. It's back and forth. Somewhere is at half health. Grosser is below that. Silence and white flag back in. He's now almost a one-shot. Perfect use to Bat Chats, but now they've got to get the heck out of dodge, and this is where Oops are going to try and respond.
Yeah, these 3 113s are going to absolutely punish Wombats on Tanks now. They're going to be able to chunk these Bat Chats down real easy. Povel's at least going to fall, but you got another tank in the background. That's a Bat Chat starting to do damage against Silence.
Perfect stuff here. It's just one after another. Waves and waves of waves and waves. And Breakneck comes down and takes down Grosser. Wombats have a good lead here, over 2k. And Silence now is going to be cut short as he comes forward. He just can't make the distance. Invictus winning out against Karix here, but unfortunately that is not going to make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things here, at least as Fussy Eater has pushed forward. Kusok knows he's off reload first, so he's going to be chasing down. He's in a STB. And there's Coca-Cola getting hammered down a little bit. Wants one more shot towards Damnus. He'd love a second, but I don't know if he'll have it. Yes, the TVP was on reload. Perfect little trades for the Wombats. Yes, it's messy. It's definitely not clean. Some rough edges here, but the Wombats looking very, very sharp. It's a 4v3. Fussy Eater now off reload, so he can threaten here. And another shot towards Kusok can take him out. This could be another close one, Ollie.
It could be, but I think Just Cause off reload is going to take care of somewhere, no problem at all. And the Bat Chat on the left side, along with that RU251, have so much room to breathe and play around the map. It's going to be game over as predicted after that round on Prokhorovka. And Wombats are going to cement themselves into, well, at least second place right now. Obviously, they got a Thursday match to play. And Oops, I mean, you got to feel a little bit sympathy for them. They were playing so well after Himmelsdorf. Yeah. They had their tactics in the bag. They had that round on the Prokhorovka in the bag, and Breakneck just got the better of them.
And it does seem like the Wombats, after an entire season of being behind the 8 ball, didn't get to play as many games as the rest of the teams, have ascended to their rightful spot, up at the top of the ladder. Well, second place to be exact, but they can still get up on top as well. The game later on this week will be very, very important. They have 2 to play, and we'll see him yet again on Thursday. I mean, the mood shifts a bit when you take the subject in the direction of Oops here, because this is really uncharacteristic from them. Yeah, I mean, Connect Abroad is not a game that they should have lost. I really think they were just outstratted. Wombats on Tanks, yeah, a strong team, but we saw things from Oops that definitely gave us a good feeling about them going forward. Himmelsdorf was good. Prokhorovka showed some signs of goodness, but one round from 6, wouldn't have seen that coming.
No, definitely not. I think But the thing is, I mean, again, it was that throwing round where everything just goes to hell and you end up losing it, you know. And then Cliff, obviously, that even though if they were more of a cemented team, I think if we had to switch it around where Oops they got the clutch against Wombats, Wombats still would have gone on Cliff and played really well and still would have potentially had a good chance of winning that round. Oops, on the other hand, suicide on RU251 and a bat shot into the middle gap, so you ruffle stomp, and then second time round they also managed to do the same thanks to a bat shot on the left side. So, yeah, I mean, what can I say? Pretty speechless stuff from Wombats. I think they deserve it, though. I mean, they've been so good on this match. They needed what you can always say. I mean, Breakneck got RNG, blah blah blah. But I mean, he hit all his shots. He played it perfectly. You know, Insane missed his shots. The RU251 missed his shot. Genghis, okay, you know, there's an awkward angle onto the bat shot and everything, but he had enough time, for instance, to move instead of shooting against the bat shot.
Missed the first shot.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, Genghis could have gone down into that river area and gone hull down, and you know that would have been a different game. But he went for that shot. Try to kill him.
Get in the low ground. The Batchat can't depress its gun low enough. It actually has to be on the same level as you, which means that the Batchat would have had to be in the river with the T110 E5, and all Genghis needed was one shot.
And there's only like 30 seconds left in the game, so...
Sorry, like, there's always ways you can play around that. It's not all about RNG. Obviously, that's your scorelines down at bottom. Of course, post-match stats. Be interesting to see. I think we have those ones queued up and ready to go. I'll show you guys now exactly how things... Actually, no, we don't. But we have the post-game stats. You saw them there as well. So that should be enough. That's the scoreline there for you now as well. I mean, just weird results today, I feel it's safe to say. I mean, let's have a look at the recap of the scores, if we can, and just show you guys what we saw today. Big assortment here, 5-3, 5-2, 5-1.
Yeah, just a mixed bag of tricks, really. I mean, KB definitely deserved against the win against Synergy. I think Penta were going to win against Rusty Ross all the time. And then Wombats and Oops definitely isn't, you know, a match I thought would be that one-sided, but, you know, but one round can make all the difference. Oops screwed it up on Cliff, and Wombats go into second place. So a pretty quick night for once. We've had a lot of like half 11, 12 o'clock starts, and, you know, I think these teams more one-sided. A lot of them, you know, don't have a lot on the line. For instance, Rusty Roster wouldn't have been able to move from that 10th position right now, and Penta had more to play for, you know, trying to stay out of those relegation zones.
Absolutely. Melly, that's putting the cap on everything here, of course. I mean, you already told us where the vote ended up as well, but I know a lot of people went nuts, of course, when they got to see that shot on Prohorovka. Seriously big games.
Absolutely, and totally crazy. I mean, it's just like the perfect opening for this amazing week. We have so many matches waiting for us, and that was kind of... well, maybe a little preview to show what's actually waiting ahead of us. And yes, people, if you just tuned in by whatever reason ever, you missed it. It was great. But head over to youtube.com/WGLEU and subscribe to our channel to get a notification as soon as we upload today's VODs. And which will most likely happen tomorrow, so you should definitely rewatch this match. It ended earlier than I expected, to be honest. I didn't expect that scoreline, but you guys at home were onto something with your 65% for Wombats on Tanks. And yes, you got it right today. All clear, all correct teams, all correct predictions. Congratulations. Nice. And, well, hope to see you on Tuesday for more voting, right?
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Thursday, not far away. Let's have a look at the ladder and see how it ended up after tonight. We had our producer in there working furiously to show this one for you guys. So, hello, Wombats and Tanks up the top side there as well. KB in 5th position, Penta in 8th. I guess technically it would technically be 7, but of course we're not taking into account the count back between those two. We don't expect that from our poor producer doing it on the spot there. But Penta would technically be 7th because they beat Synergy. But yeah, apart from that, that's all pretty kosher. Oops here. I mean, about 21 points on the ladder. They set themselves up. They're not going to be auto-qualified, though, unfortunately. They squandered that opportunity. And it looks like, I'd say, Wombats and Tanks have the best shot here. If they and Rocks win their games, it'll be undisputed 2 first placeholders.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the top 2 automatically qualify on Thursday. Then we have the weekend again for the final 2 teams going towards the finals, which is just in a couple of weeks' time. So
super close.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Thursday's matches, we can actually pretty securely see who's going to go. I mean, you know, Kazna, of course, I think they've pretty much got 6th place secured looking at the lineup here. But, I mean, if they win against Wombats, they definitely do. But Wombats on Tanks, if they win that one, they will be going into first place.
Well, second, because Tornado will definitely beat Strong Siema, I guess.
Yeah, but chronologically, if Tornado Rocks then beat Strong Siema, of course, Tornado Rocks will have the most points. They'll be in first. So realistically, on Thursday, I imagine Wombats and Tornado Rocks have the best chance of being in that top 2 spots. Of course, Ding as well playing. It's going to be a hard match for them, I feel, Utopia and Ding. And, that they could also vie for second place. Wombats are 23 right now. They'll have 26 if they beat Kazakru, and Ding will have 25. So
if Wombats lose and Ding win,
they'll go in second place. Yeah. So big games for Wombats and Ding.
And Ding Utopia has always given us some good games, ladies and gentlemen. Last season, Ding Utopia was sick. Really, really good game actually there. So guys, that's pretty much all we have for you tonight. I'll be back here Thursday with Oliver and Melly, and we're going to crack it out yet again. And also on the weekend, guys, a big week of tanks coming up. We're going to give you a day off to recover, and we'll be here on Thursday, same time, same place, and we'll see you then.